All right, good evening. So it is, what are we? Friday, February 20th, 2026, 9:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, almost 9:30. And we are here on the corner of Côte-des-Neiges Boulevard and Queen Mary Boulevard. Here, of course, is Côte-des-Neiges Boulevard. That's facing towards the north. And here's Queen Mary Boulevard, Queen Mary Road. That's facing towards the east, and this way is facing towards the west, and this is towards the south. And although it's not Christmas time, these lights and these trees are still up, and it's quite fitting as we have a nice little snowfall going on here tonight. And it could be one of the last snowfalls of the winter season, but of course we never know when it comes to Montreal area weather. This time of year can pack a surprise or two. And even March, if you guys recall, I can't remember when it was, maybe 2020 or 2021, maybe it could even be earlier than 2020, it might have been 2019, 2018. Anyway, it was the year of the floods. It was 2017, because I remember it was March 2017. We had a major snowstorm right before the melting period, the spring thaw. And that's what contributed to the flooding, quite a bit of the flooding that happened. So that was in 2017. So this goes to show you that, nature is unpredictable and always expect the unexpected. But I figured, just in case, why not do a little walking video here and enjoy the snowfall. Document it while it's here. So I'll probably copy and paste that segment of video to my emergency response compilation, which I thought was going to be quite decent for February, but turns out it started off good. I think within the first couple of days I had about 5 or 6 emergency responses, and since then I haven't really had many, and we're almost at the end of the month there. So any footage I get, of course, is going to go towards that. And speaking of Queen Mary, there's the 166, which is the flagship bus of this street here. (2017) Nova Bus LFS hybrid. And if you haven't been following the news, apparently the Quebec government has decided that they're not going to force transit companies to adapt to an electric only fleet within a few years. I think it was 2030 or 2035. So this is sort of, the STM says it's sort of good news, probably other transit companies as well, like XO, RTL, STL, because that means that now they can buy cheaper buses, hybrid buses, which are cheaper than electric, not only to buy but also to maintain. And it also means that the government's going to give them a subsidy for those hybrid buses. So that's, I guess, a good win. I have mixed opinions on electric vehicles. There's the Oratory, St. Joseph's Oratory. Did a couple of videos there over the years. One of my favorite spots here in Montreal. And we got a nice photo here. It's always a treat when they come here during a snowstorm. And you're looking at the Oratory through the intense snowfall. So there it is. Beautiful St. Joseph's Oratory. Montreal landmark. I'll give you a little zoom here. Got a snowplow right here. Yeah, alright. No, it's a snowplow without its plow down. So they said we're supposed to get 5 centimeters, but I think we're going to get a little bit more than that. So that truck might only be salting the roads. That's why the plow might not be up. You can see how it's accumulating quite nicely here. So as I was saying, for electric vehicles, I have a sort of mixed opinion about it. I mean, you think of the batteries and the chemicals that go into making the batteries and the costs of the batteries, specifically for buses, for transit companies, transit organizations. But obviously it has less greenhouse gas emissions, less exhaust, no exhaust, but you have to consider what goes into making those buses, and also not just the materials and getting the materials out the ground, but also the maintenance, and also what happens afterwards to the batteries when the batteries are no longer, they're at the end of their life cycle. There's a lot of concern about toxic waste, toxic leakage from those batteries seeping into the ground. So anyways, and with all that said, there's not really much alternative. I mean, the main goal, I guess, is to lower greenhouse gas emissions. I guess that's the most urgent thing right now. But hopefully we come up with some sort of clean, 100% clean solution to our transportation needs. But I don't know, I don't see that happening anytime soon. And unfortunately, it's looking a little bit grim for the human species here on Earth. The amount of poison and all-out crud that we put into the air every day, the water. That no matter what happens, I'm not going to go too much off of, onto a tangent here, or off to a tangent, but other species will survive, just like they have before us. They will after us. But point being, I mean, there has to be a solution somewhere. But looking at, right now, in the present, the fact that they canceled this new goal for electric buses in 2030 or 2035, whenever it was, basically means now that they can focus on more hybrid buses. But that being said, we still have, I think, the coming fleet of buses, it's actually the 2025 fleet of Nova buses that the STM's getting. They're going to be all long-range electric. It's going to be the first time we're going to get long-range electric Nova buses. So it's going to be the Nova Bus LFS E Plus model. And of course, we have some new flyers. Ooh, is this coming here? No, I thought it was coming here. Some kind of emergency response. But anyways, as I was saying, we have the Nova Bus LFS E Plus coming out, which is the long-range electric Nova buses for the first time here in the STM. Of course, we have the new flyers already. And I guess the electric buses are going to be here within the next, hopefully, few months. That first batch of long-range electric Nova buses. And then after that, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I think I've heard at least that next year, which will be actually the 2026 buses, because the way it works, the year of the bus, for example, 2025, usually that series of bus comes out the year after. So for example, 2024 buses, if you recall, came out in 2025. And the 2025 ones will probably be coming out in 2026. So all that being said, I think up until the 2027, maybe the 2028 series of buses, at least 2027, at least until 2027, I think are going to be electric. So we have one more batch of electric buses coming. At least one or two of Nova Bus LFS E Plus. Yeah, so look at the snow piling up, it's incredible. But if all that being said, I mean, as long as we have sufficient transit, as long as we have buses that work, and we're ordering buses to replace old ones, then I think we should be fine. But you know, obviously right now transit agencies are sort of having budget issues, and hopefully those will be resolved as well soon. But we'll have to see. But in any case, it should be a really interesting new experience being on a Novabus LFS E+. And I don't know what they're going to do with the articulated Novabuses. They're eventually going to have to be replaced. But it's going to be really interesting. So, well, anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this little walking video talking about buses as we saw a few go by. And this is really accumulating quite fast. I think already 5 to 10 centimeters has already fallen based on what I see here. But who knows. But anyways, gonna try to save some battery here. And as we end the video here, coming up to Roslyn Street, corner of Queen Mary and Roslyn. And hopefully, like I said, we do get one more decent snowfall. So there's Roslyn Street coming up. So thanks for watching, everyone. As always, if you like what you see, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notification bells, and more videos to come.